Okay, it's about 8 o'clock at night, August 22nd. I've been here for a month and 23 days or so. I thought I'd do an episode on predictions, kind of the things I thought were going to happen and the things that actually did happen. It's always annoying when people, after the fact, they say, oh, you should have known this or you should have known that. I think for the most part I did know what I was getting into. A couple surprises, but nothing ground shaking, earth shattering. So I'll go through a couple of those. I figured I'd probably lose about 40 pounds in the first 2 months. I lost that in about 1 month actually. I lost 30 pounds in 16 days, and then I lost another 7 pounds over the next 2 weeks or so. But since then I've stabilized pretty well. Moving forward, I think I'm probably about where I'm going to be. I may even gain back, 10 or 15 pounds. Part of the reason I lost so much weight was I just stopped eating. It was kind of a shock, a new environment, new foods, just everything was miserable. And then I was, just working incredibly hard every day, carrying, plywood sheets up a hill on my back. And I'm still doing that, but I'm almost done with that. I'm building the cabin, but I've almost got the cabin done. Right now I've got the structure up. I've got half of the house insulated. The whole house was wrapped in Tyvek 2 days ago, and then I put up about half the siding today, all the easy spots. I got to do the rest. It'll take a lot longer. I have to cut out windows and that kind of thing, but it's about done. It's also just really nice to be able to come inside and realize that the bugs are not in here. They're outside. So I went out at noon and there were bugs everywhere, and then I went back in and I was like, oh yeah, it's nice in here. It's a controlled environment. I still don't have my stove going, but once I do, then I think things are really going to, it'll be very nice. It will dry things out a little bit better. It is drier in here than it is outdoors, but that's not saying a lot. I've got clothes hanging up, and it takes, I don't know, anywhere from 3 to 5 days for things to fully dry. But outside, I had some boots laying on the ground, and they started to grow mold, so that's a real problem. Also, inside the house, I was getting some moisture on the back wall and under the floor, but since I went ahead and did the Tyvek house wrap, all those problems went away. So it was simply coming in from the back wall. Apparently just the rain was splashing in and sinking in. So I'm very glad that is apparently not a problem. I may still dig under the house and let the air blow through a little bit, just get a little bit of ventilation. I've got insulation under there, and I've got Visqueen, just a plastic wrap. But the insulation could grow mold, I guess. So just want to make sure that is under control. But anyway, I'm very upbeat. I think things are really coming together quite well. Let's see. I said before I left that I figured I could probably put the cabin up in about 10 days if I had all my material in place. And that's actually fairly true. If I had everything on my property, yeah, I probably could have put it up in 10 days. The last cabin I did 3 years ago was about 30% smaller than this one, and I had the roof on the 7th day. So this one is bigger. It's also more involved. I am insulating this one and doing internal inside paneling and that kind of stuff, so it's a lot more involved. But overall, it's a pretty simple construction. It's a box with a roof on it, and then I tilted the roof up, so there's no gables, no seams in the roof, or no angles. It's a very simple design. It will hold some snow, but some of it should shed. I'm probably going to have to get out there and shovel and make sure everything is under control. That's possibly a weakness, but I think I'm going to be okay. The span from front to back is only 7 feet. It's 8 feet really, but the walls are half a foot thick, so you're talking about a 7-foot span. I think when I leave, I may put in some more 2x4 or just small trees inside, propping the roof up against the floor, just in case the snow gets really out of control. But I really built this cabin to last 1 year. It will probably last 10 or so, but it probably won't be here in 40 years. Although one encouraging thing is to see some of the old ruins of the houses around here. Some of them are 100 years old, and they are still up. They may have holes in the roof, but even with the insane storms out here, they're still standing. So that suggests that things may last longer than we expect, particularly because I'm using better equipment, probably, or more high-tech equipment. So that's kind of cool. Also, I'm up on this hill. I bought land that was in a forest, or not, it's forested to some extent. Actually, it's pretty well forested. But it is cutting the wind significantly, and I actually wish there were more wind. I'm going to put up the wind turbine to generate electricity, and that, it's going to be up 30 feet or so, so there should be some more wind up there. Today it looked really calm. I went up to there's a little roadside there, and I could feel the wind blowing pretty hard on me on the road, which was open, but then I looked up at the trees and they looked extremely calm. So, the branches weren't moving very much. So maybe here on my land, the branches aren't moving very much, but there is some wind moving up there, so that'll be good. Also, I've climbed up the tree a couple times now, and it's windier up there than it would be on the ground, of course. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to find one of the trees and chop it off, just a nice top, and I'll mount the windmill up there. And then the neighboring trees, I'm not going to cut them down, but I'm going to trim off a lot of the branches so the wind will blow a little bit better. And also I need more solar power coming in the morning. I get very little sun on this cabin, actually, and that would be very nice. So anyway, just because of the location, that's what it is. And I'm allowed to cut down my own trees, but I want to minimize that as much as is possible. It looks like the trees on other people's property really aren't causing any trouble at all for me, which is good because I have no control over that. The only ones I'd really like to clear out is a little right out of this window so I can see a little bit more of the ocean, but I can see a little bit, and that's fine for me. I think that after the snow falls, I'm going to have trouble seeing out the window anyway because it's only about 8 feet high. With 27 feet of snow, I'm going to be climbing out the top window probably to dig the house out. Although 27 feet in a year, that was a record year, and it's not standing. We're probably going to have 10 to 12, maybe 14 feet of snow on the ground at one time at the very worst. Though I am concerned about the weight of it because it's not just snow, but it's wet snow. Anyway, let me get back to the subject here. Okay, I thought it would be rainy and cold just after watching the weather forecasts out here for years. And it was really cold and rainy. Ironically, now I have a house and I can come in and warm up, but the weather is much nicer. It's probably 10 degrees warmer already. I thought July would be pretty warm, but August is warmer, so probably 10 degrees. It's about 60 inside maybe upper 50s inside if I don't run the heat or run any kind of heat source. Let's see. Okay, I brought a lot of stuff out of here in bins, like Rubbermaid bins, like 50-gallon or smaller, and also 5-gallon buckets. The bins worked okay. Some of them leak, obviously. 5-gallon buckets are really the way to go. They hold less, but they're airtight, and I think that'll also help keep the smell of food away from wildlife. So so far I've had no wildlife mess with my stuff. They probably just don't want trouble, but I think that having them in sealed 5-gallon buckets is really the way to go. The biggest challenge with the buckets was to find lids, and I went to many, many stores in several towns here in Alaska, and I finally found one in Soldotna that had enough lids, but finding a gasketed 5-gallon bucket lid was quite a challenge. Let's see. I thought bugs would be bad, and they are pretty bad. I've got some inside here. But what surprises me is that, I don't know, my hands are actually healing pretty well, but I've got bites all over. And I've taken some other photos that people reacted to pretty violently, pretty strongly. It was pretty gross. I've got just bug bites all over, and sometimes I'll have 50 bites on my hand at a time. That's unpleasant, but it's really not bothering me, that is a surprise. I thought it would really be rough, but I think on the things that bother me, the ups and downs, I think that's not even hitting the threshold of really being an annoyance. So there's that. So that's my predictions for what has happened, or what I did predict, but I didn't actually make a video of that. I think I've said a lot of these things in interviews, but I'm going to make another film here predicting for the future of what I think the rest of the year is going to be like, and I'll do that next.